This video will demonstrate how to use the Canvas outcomes function to assess GE learning outcomes using an assignment you've created in your Canvas course for your GE class. Canvas outcomes allows the GE program to set common standards for each GE learning outcome and to collect information from multiple classes where these outcomes are being assessed. For this video, we'll use the example of Core 1 classes. Instructors of other GE courses can follow along as the process is quite similar. Let's imagine that this is the Canvas page for my Core 1 course. And I have an assignment in this course that I'm calling Group Project Evaluation. This is just a skeleton assignment. For the real thing, I might have more thorough instructions. What's important is that in this example, I've created a rubric for this assignment where I'm delegating points based on particular aspects of the assignment that I'm going to evaluate. If you have experience creating rubrics in Canvas, then great. You may already have assignments and rubrics that look like this. If you haven't created rubrics in Canvas before, then that's something that we can help you find support for outside of this video. And what we're going to do is we're going to add these outcomes as additional rows in this rubric that you can evaluate at the same time you're using this rubric to evaluate students' work for this assignment. Our first step is going to be placing the outcomes into our Canvas course. And in order to do that, we're going to go to the Outcomes menu. And on top, we have the option of adding outcomes or adding a group into which we would then place outcomes. Both of those are relevant if you want to build your own outcomes that you would track yourself. In this case, we've created the outcomes for GE at a higher level in Canvas, and you can put them in your course by going to the Find option. So we click on Find, and the next steps aren't necessarily obvious, but you can reference this video. From Find Outcomes, we're going to go into Account Standards, University of the Pacific, and there's a General Education folder. Inside General Education, we see a subfolder for Core 1, for Core 2, and for several of the inquiry areas of Pacific's GE program. Let's see what's in the Core 1 folder. The Core 1 Outcomes folder has 6 outcomes, 2 for information literacy, 2 for problem solving, and 2 for small group communication. And each of these 6 outcomes represents one row of the rubric used for Core 1. For convenience, you can import all of the outcomes for your GE class at the same time by importing the folder for Core 1, Core 2, or your GE breadth area. For Core 1, we would click on the Core 1 folder, go down and click Import, and click OK. Now you can see that I'm back in the Outcomes menu of my Canvas course, and I've imported the Core 1's folder and all of the outcomes within it. So now I'll go back to my assignment where I wanted to add these outcomes. That was Group Project Evaluation. And for the rubric for this assignment, I'm going to click on the button to edit the rubric. And this gives me the editable version of the rubric. And toward the bottom, where I could add another row, instead I'm going to go to Find Outcome. Now this is going to look for only outcomes that have already been added to my Canvas course. So it was important that we did that first step of pulling them from the GE program. So I click on Find Outcome, and here I have the options that are, again, loaded into my course. And let's suppose that the Core 1 outcome that is relevant to this assignment is small group communication, effective group participation. Before I choose to import this outcome, there's one important step, and that is this box, use this criterion for scoring. This outcome has a scale where, depending on how a student performs, the outcome can correspond to a score of 1, 2, 3, or 4 points. That is going to be the case for all Canvas outcomes for the GE program. If we want our score on the assignment to have up to 4 points corresponding to this row, then we can keep this box, use this criterion for scoring checked. If instead we'd rather not have this outcome be worth any points for the student's grade, but we still want it to appear with the rubric, we would uncheck the box, and then we can import the outcome with no point values that get communicated to the student's grade. So we'll uncheck it and then import the outcome. And so it's a little misleading. We can see here that now the rubric includes the outcome as the bottom row. It says 4 points here, but we can note that the assignment is still being scored for a total of 65 points, which was the sum of the 3 rows that we had in the rubric before adding the outcome. So there won't actually be any points on the student's grade given to this outcome. The last thing we have to do is make sure we click update rubric so this change is saved for our rubric. And now on the assignment page, the rubric includes the outcome properly with no points given to it. Now we'll imagine that students have completed this assignment and we're going to score it, including the outcome that we've added. I'm going to use the speed grader tool, which shows the submission by each student. And when I click view rubric, will give me the rubric that I'm using to score. For this demo, we don't have actual assignments, but we can make up what the scores are going to be for this particular group of test students. If you're used to grading students' assignments using rubrics in Canvas, then scoring an outcome is almost exactly the same. You will choose which of these performance levels represents the student's work on this assignment. Let's say that this student is competent. And if you want, you can click on this box to add further comments to give feedback to the student about specific areas of the outcome that they're doing well in or that they could try to improve. Clicking save will store your feedback on the rubric, including the outcome. And you still have the option to add general overall comments about the assignment. Overall comments will appear to students as a separate field they can view without looking inside the rubric. Notice that Canvas automatically adds up points from different elements of the rubric, and that as before, we had set the outcome not to have any points with it. If you want to change something in how you evaluated any part of the rubric, you can go back to view rubric and make adjustments as needed. This is a student view of the rubric after the assignment has been graded. Students will see your score and your comments on the outcome in addition to the rest of the rubric. The GE assessment team can later export outcome scores and corresponding student information from every Canvas course in the university that uses this Canvas outcome. This video has covered the basic steps for setting up and scoring Canvas outcomes in your GE course. If you have further questions about using Canvas outcomes in your course, you can consult the resources or contact information posted accompanying this video.